Hello, beautifuls of the feed. It is me, Benji. I am going to do a tarot reading for you today. So I'm just going to do a general one, and I just thought that today that I'm going to be using this deck, and yeah. So let's just get started and get straight into it. I feel like let's just get a card and see what our general energy is for today. If you do resonate, please do leave a like. Subscribe if you're new here to the Soul Family on my channel, and also leave a comment. I love to read them and I love responding. Sometimes I get really busy and I can't, but like I will respond. No matter if it takes like a day after you put it sometimes because I might be sleeping. But anyways, the first card out today for you is the World. Everything you have worked for is definitely coming together at this point. I really feel like there is a lot of accomplishment here. There's a lot of success, a lot of, the word synthesis just came to mind. And, there is like the sense of mastery, like with the World. It's a really beautiful kind of energy to be in. It's very growth like. We do have very Earth and Saturn vibes coming from this. So I just thought that I'd say that. And like a lot of community, there's a lot of like good things coming from this card. The second card here is the Lovers card, which is really beautiful. I feel like there's a lot of things happening for you at the moment. It's just really kind of purveying, celebrating your love and your life. Like you've got like a lot of inspiration. There's a lot of motivation right now. Love, just beauty, commitment, choices, and divine unity. Like there's a lot of like swaying and like going with the flow, and it's very like gusty like wind. It's like going with the flow but gusty like wind. That's kind of what I'm getting. So it's almost like balancing responsibility. So I think that's like really kind of cool that's coming through. We do have life is hard right now with the Five of Pentacles. So it's very earth, and I think it's Taurus. So we got Taurus energy. So this one here is like saying hardship, poverty, loss of money, position, toil, harshness, need, lack of resources. So like it seems like look around, help is at hand. This is like the kind of vibe that I always get there from this card. So it just seems like if there is like this kind of sense of like hardship at the moment, or poverty, or like loss or something, like just take a look around. Like there is help around. That's what I'm getting from that card. It's kind of what I'm getting from that card, because it's kind of what it is. We have strength. It says it's upside down, so strength is really just giving repression and like impotence, impatience. A lot of doubt is happening right now. So with this one here, it's really interesting because like I know exactly what this kind of like opposite energy of strength is. Being Leo energy with the fire, it's about rebirth and changes. You got to like really rebirth and change and contribute in a way so that you can flip that one around and become the strength. So that's kind of what I'm getting from that card. We do have the Five of Swords here. So the Five of Swords here is like wanting to win at all costs, but you're actually causing a little bit of like feelings and hurt feelings towards maybe some other energies, because there's a lot of like maybe selfish acts and like trying to win at all costs. So there could also be like a self-sabotage kind of vibe going on here, where anxiety could be causing a problem, and arguments, and a fear of failure. So sometimes the victory is like really just not worth the price. That's kind of like what I get from this card, like in a sense that sometimes it's like really good advice to listen to when it's like kind of really like up to here. if that makes sense. We do have the Knight of Wands reversed, and this one here is really just giving evil minded. Like, that's whoa. It gives cruel, bigoted, hurried, careless, and discord. So this is also like another growth card for me because I feel like with the sense of like these feelings, um, they're very eerie, like gusty, like wind. There's a lot of wind in this. The last card was very eerie. There's a lot of air, kind of like gustiness. But this is like about growth energy, and I feel like when there's a sense of like these cards flipped, I feel like there needs to be a sense of like problem solving taking place so that you can flip them the right way. That's kind of like how I perceive and look at it. So you want to go from like, this like hurried, careless kind of energy to generous passion, courage, and like moving away from maybe like toxic things, like maybe even comics or something. Like that's what I'm kind of getting from like doing what I just did then. Okay, so our next card is Page of Cups, and it's reversed also. We have another reversed, and we have one right way up. So this one here is really just giving a sense of balance your priorities. Is like kind of what I get because by doing that brings in happy surprises when it's the right way up. But like when it's like this, you really need to like look at balancing your priorities. This one here is saying flatterer, and it says selfish. It says deviation from the path, and it says naive, irrational, daydreaming, immature. So in the sense of like this one coming out, it's really just like coming through as kind of like being a little bit like it's definitely coming out like selfish. Selfish has come out a few times. Like it's very much like not maybe doing the right thing that's meant to be on your path, and maybe that's what's bringing in that hardship and poverty and like this lack feeling, and it kind of brings on these other feelings. So like I kind of get it here because everything was meant to work out, right? Like it's like super beautiful at the beginning of this reading, and then I feel like this kind of feeling comes in, and it's kind of like I get it. I think I get it. Um, we do have like another card here, which is the Three of Cups upside down, which is overabundance. So what I'm getting here is that sometimes when you gain a lot, you can have a change in attitude or a change in perception on reality, even. And then you think that you're like, I don't really want to say it, but like, you know, it's like this excessive pleasure can bring on like a thing where like say like for I don't know, like for example me, I barely go do things because I it's not that I can't afford them, it's that I just like spend my money on stuff that I want to invest in myself. uh, so I don't do a lot of things. I don't spend my money on like the movies and things like that, but I guess I have gone to the movies recently, but like my friend took me and he was like really wanted me to go, so he paid for it. And so like I was so in awe, like it was crazy. So I feel like the way I perceive everything, like when I go out and experience something like that, it's like the first time, not the first time I've ever done it. I did it a lot when I was like younger, but it was like the first time I'd ever done it. And I was so impressed with this movie. And it was apparently a really bad movie, but I was like, that was so good. So it's just this perception thing where like, because it's like, I don't know, like it's this really interesting place to be in where there's just like a lot of disloyalty, maybe even betrayal, a loss of prestige, like rejection and betrayal, like is really standing out at me. And it brings on suffering and pain, obviously, because we have the Three of Swords here. And this one here has got selfishness on it as well. So I really feel like this reading is really coming across to energy that has kind of gone into this like place of lack from really like the place of everything you've worked for is coming together and celebrate your love in your life, and it's like it's kind of hit the fan, um so like this is the most intense reading that I've ever had, ever, like this is intense. So whoever this is for, I'm gonna do some more cards and I'm just gonna try to like get some direction going. for this, so like we can get you out like out of this kind of place, or maybe like on a different path, the proper path, because like it does say here deviation from the path. So I do understand that like deviations happen. So I was thinking of like, how do we do that? So let's just do some daily like affirmations for you. Let's just get one affirmation for this reading for whoever this is for. Okay, it is: I claim my desires, I hold great visions, I'm ready to receive. Okay. I feel like for anyone that wants to actually make a difference in their life, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I feel like that's like a message for me. Like whoever wants to really like try to move forward in their life would probably like try to do something. So high five and a big hug for making it this far in, because this would have been hard to listen to. Um, like, hard in the way of like, this could be some hard truths, but if you're ready to receive, then like, you're here, right? So I'm going to move on to some other cards. I'm really trying to figure out right now what cards I need to use to really get to a message. Okay, I am going to use my Silver Witchcraft Tarot because this one can like really weave like a nice little picture for me. And I would like this tarot to paint a picture of like the way forward instead of this potential path where the deviation has happened. How do we get away from that? Yeah, that kind of vibe. All right, we'll just see what these ones are. We have the star. So this is kind of what I was feeling. I was thinking about it just then. I was like, have faith, hope, like I feel like it probably sounds real typical of like this kind of stuff, really, right? It's like have faith, hope in the universe or in God, or like and just believe, be closer to the universe, be closer to God. That's really what that one is representing here. It's just like be really, just like give yourself to the universe. And I feel like that's what I mean, but like it sounds cliche, but like it really is what it is. This is really beautiful. This is like spirit messages directly for you. We have the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands here is really passionate, like it's got a lot of passion and fire. It seems like the Queen of Wands here has been through a lot and it's very charismatic and very confident. There's a lot of nurturing creativity qualities going on about this energy. So this is very much like an energy card. So I feel like this would represent the viewer. I feel like you are this energy, and I feel like there is this like shadow across this lady's face on the card, which represents the shadow, the past. Like the things that have happened, and all of the struggles and pain and whatnot. So I do believe that this card is really showing that like courage, that strength, that beautiful blossoming, you know, charismatic flower. Um, yeah, it's beautiful. We have the Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords really is kind of interesting here because this is just curiosity, right? Like new ideas, and also like I feel like it gives off like learning, or even studying something new, whether it be in the physical or like learning about spiritual things. I think it's just really beautiful. I feel like you're really upgrading yourself and your energy and just your knowledge and your wisdom, and just like there is a lot here. I think that's really beautiful. I love that. So I feel like this is like ultimately what we asked for, is how do we get away from these things is you need to start thinking these things about yourself, because these things are you. You are basically either, whoever's watching this, you're either a king or a queen. You're deserving, you are a very wonderful person. And I feel like with these cards here, they're really showing you the path to abundance and to claiming this like place of happiness, because it's really about true happiness and what's inside. And I feel like with this first reading, things were good, at least at the beginning here, and then they just kind of like drift off and they come into this place of lack. And that's kind of what I get here. We do have the Six of Chalices. So Six of Chalices is really bringing in the like nostalgic feelings, but also loving yourself, loving your inner child. That's kind of what I get from this. Um, it's really interesting here. I really feel like there is a sense of like a connection with the past here, and I feel like it's all about to doing with healing the past. So with that, we have the sun. So like healing the past, I feel like that's kind of what I got to say about that one. It really just is what it is. It's like DNA healing or even past life healing, like healing karmic ties and stuff like that. Um, so with the sun here, it is really just bringing success, happiness, positivity, and joy. So um, as you can kind of see, not really, but like with this reading, it's like the first one is really feeling like what trajectory path that you're on currently. And I feel like this little story here that we got from the Silver Witchcraft Tower is really bringing in the sense of like where you're actually heading, and it's trying to give you some direction and focus on things to focus on instead. So it's like as much as I feel like there can be feeling like there is a lack, and maybe if there is one time where you had a lot, like there sometimes, like I did it to myself on purpose. Okay, like I don't like to admit it, but I did it because I wanted to learn from my experience, and I wanted to really figure out if I wanted that lifestyle of like, you know overabundance, because that's what it is. Um, like I got like a large sum of money through a past thing. This is why it's bringing up in my mind. I don't really want to reveal too much about it, but like I did that, and then I was just like, you know what? I feel like I should teach myself a lesson, and as much as like people probably think I'm stupid, it really taught me that I actually want like more of a humble, more of a um, more comfortable, humble lifestyle than one with a lot, because when you have a lot, it can really change you as a person. Like sometimes some people, it can change them. It can change like the outcome of their thoughts and things like that. So it's just really interesting. I'm not trying to admit that like I'm bad with money or anything like that. I basically got a lot of stuff, and there's like maybe 4 or 5 things that I ended up selling because I was just like, this is just like pointless, and I like learned my lesson. I'm like, I didn't need that. So I did it to myself just to learn like a lesson, and I learned the lesson. Like I would love to have money like that again, yes, but I know that I wouldn't do that again, like ever. Like I maybe if there was a good enough reason to do it, like if I bought a house or something and I needed to furnish it or whatever, I learned my lesson. So I feel like that's what this reading's all about, is learning lessons from your experiences and really taking from that and going on this different path, because I feel like that's what like tarot is all about. It's all about recognizing where you're heading and making a change and flipping it over, like I was saying earlier in the reading, and veering off onto this path, kind of like the palm, right? Like, don't know much about it, but I feel like there's lots of like that vibe on like this. Like that's what I'm getting from this reading. It's like it looks like a branch on the palm. But with that, I'm just gonna get one more card. Um, and we'll do that. And our card today is the Nine of Water. Very pretty. love it. Do you love it? I love it. It's so cool. Okay. The Nine of Water. The Nine of Water is 285. Okay. The Nine of Water. Illumination, acceptance, openness, emotional alignment, strength, courage, fear, ignorance. Key phrases. Open your heart. Past experience leave an emotional imprint. Deep. It's literally what this reading is about. Shine a light on the source of emotional pain. The effect of past experience on the present moment. The weight of our emotions. Emotional enlightenment. The process of becoming lighter. Ignorance is not bliss. Break the cycle. Remove the emotional hooks. The meaning of this card is the very first thing to be born in the darkness. The very first thing to be born in the darkness of the void was the light. The Nine of Water represents the need to embrace an open heart and allow the light of love to transform and heal emotional pain and turn it into knowledge that sets us free. Our past experiences, good and bad, leave an emotional imprint. Remembered, and joy and love can inspire a sense of well-being. A happy memory creates a feeling within that curves the lips and makes us smile or laugh, while a bad memory can cause tears and open up old wounds we thought were healed and forgotten long ago. Have you ever heard a song playing on the radio and had tears form in your eyes because the song was one you shared with past love who broke your heart? Have you ever had somebody say something to you that has triggered anger because they have touched on a deep-rooted, remembered anger towards another who said the very same words? Have you ever started laughing uncontrollably because a silly moment in the now stirred up memories of a silly, happy moment in the past? Or emotions can lift us up high as the stars or plummet us into the abyss of despair, and yet, all too often, we do not know or understand why we feel and react as we do. What makes some memories so much more vivid and unforgettable? What makes them unforgettable? And how they made us feel? This is emotional imprinting at work, and through it, we can and do bind ourselves emotionally to the past. In the present, these imprints become triggers that have us reacting on almost purely emotional level. If our mind was a black bank in which we could choose what memories we save, the majority would save only the memories that make them smile, while discarding those that make them cry. There would be so many happy, smiling people in the world if we could choose to keep only the memories that make us smile. Unfortunately, we have no choice. But what we do have is the choice to recognize our emotional triggers, so the bad memories or those laden with weighty emotions have less influence upon us. By shining a light on the source of emotional pain, and then accepting that the moment that caused it is over and cannot be changed or undone, we take the first step to freeing ourselves from the emotional hooks that bind us to the past. Recognizing how we feel and react when recalling that moment or experiencing one like it. It is the next step towards emotional awareness, finally, in being mindful and learning not to react when an emotional trigger is squeezed. We reach an emotional enlightenment, a state when we are no longer shackled. Eventually, there comes a time when we no longer have to be mindful because the memory no longer has any influence. The hurt has healed and we have transcended. Emotional enlightenment is not a gentle process. It involves rummaging through our memories, revisiting old hurts, seeing them and accepting them for what they are, letting go of harmful and destructive beliefs, and then freeing ourselves of the burden and the emotional weight of their emotional weight. It takes time and practice, And at the beginning of the process, we can be more reactive than usual. It is like trying to run up a muddy, slippery slope. We lose our footing, fall, and slip backwards. For some, the process is simply too difficult. Others resist, wondering why anyone would consciously choose to explore and relive their deepest, most painful memories. It is like choosing to cut open old scars to make them wounds all over again. The reality is they are correct. It is like cutting open a scar. But aggressive measures are needed if a cancer grows beneath the scar tissue. If past memories are making you emotionally reactive in the way that is counterproductive in the now, then there is a cancer present. You might not be reliving the memories consciously, but when they have power influence how you feel and react in the present, then you are reliving those memories on an unconscious level. So the choice is one, being having those memories influence you unconsciously, or being mindful and aware and lessening or ending the influence. The Nine of Water offers the choice and asks you to make it. You might not have a choice in the memories your mind stores, but you do have a choice as to which ones you invest in emotionally, whether it be past memory or a new one. Invest in those that fill you with love and lightness, and find yourself rising from the depths. Just as emotional enlightenment is not an easy process, it is also not a spiritual process. It is a healing process. It is the process of making ourselves lighter in being, becoming lighter by letting go of the heavy emotions we unconsciously hold on to, and which in turn influence our emotional and physical well-being in the present. When the Nine of Water appears in your reading, you're also being asked to consider if, at this time, one of your emotional triggers is being squeezed for good or ill. Asking this question will help you determine whether you are acting for the wrong or right reasons. Wow. Okay. And with that, this is your reading today, and I really do feel like it has got a lot to do with healing. So I'm gonna leave it with that. I feel like if you got something from this, definitely let me know. I'm with you. This is a safe space for anyone that got to this point. Obviously, yeah, take care, and I'll see you in another reading. If you do subscribe, definitely hit that bell notification, hit the like button, and yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.